Who we are is often defined by what's going on around us. I think now more than ever, we see who we are through so many reflections that aren't our own. Social media, the news, adversaries and enemies, all trying to grab our attention, often from a screen that fits inside our pockets. It's hard to hear who you are when the world gets so loud. It's hard to see clearly when things look so dark. It's easy to forget the intricate way that God chose each and every one of us, with our flaws and our weaknesses, to be exactly who we are in order to allow people to see His love on full display. C.S. Lewis explains that out of the enormous space, a very small portion is occupied by matter at all. Of all the stars, perhaps very few, perhaps only one, have planets. Of all the planets in our system, probably only one supports organic life. And among the species, only one is rational. Further and further, the story sharpens until one man named Abraham is chosen out of the entirety of the human race to be the father of God's nation. Then God's choosing grows narrower and narrower, sharpens at last into one small bright point, like the head of a spear. It's a Jewish girl at her prayers named Mary. All humanity, as far as redemption is concerned, has narrowed down to this. It was because of that narrow point in all of creation's history that we can truly say God has chosen us, that God loves us. Mary prayed, said yes, and the Son of God was born. And it was Jesus' life, His death, His resurrection that allowed the narrow hope of redemption to burst open wide. Through God's grace and love, out of all the planets in the solar system, out of all the people in all the world, the God of creation sees you. He sees what you've gone through, your strengths, your weaknesses, your failures, and your triumphs, and He longs to walk with you hand in hand into what comes next. 1 Peter 2:9 says, "You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. You are God's special possession, so that you may declare the praises of Him that called you out of the darkness and into His marvelous light." The next time you gaze at the night sky, realize that it's the stars that keep us looking up in awe and wonder. It's the light in the darkness that moves our souls. Each of us has been called to be a light that can't be put out by this dark world. No matter what you're facing, you face it with a God that calls you His child and loves you more than you could ever imagine. The same God that created the universe not only sees you, but He chooses you to be His own. Tonight, you are chosen.